In this Path of Exile 2 video, guys, I'm going to be going over a beginner guide for all of you newbies out there that are just now getting into the game, or maybe some tips to help you some veterans out there that are Diablo players that are going into Path of Exile 2. So stick around to see what we have in store for you. So the first thing I want to talk about in Path of Exile 2 is your skills and support gems. Essentially what these are is, of course, once you pick your class, you'll have a certain set of skills that you can use depending on the weapon that the weapon will carry for you. So for example, I have a staff that does a kind of like a hex around the skeletons here. You can see on the ground it comes up and puts spikes into them. And then I have another one that summons like a shard of bones, and then it resurrects any dead bodies in my way. Now also with the support gems, now these are kind of similar to the first game. These are passive skills that will help out your skills in order to increase their potency even further. Now the only way to unlock more support gems is by simply playing the game, leveling up your character, but you can't use two of the exact same support gem on the same skill. So just keep that in mind for all you new players out there. But you start off with 2 slots next to your skills, as you see here, but as you keep playing, you will earn more support gems to put onto your skills. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that you can farm these skill gems to upgrade them even further to get higher level skill gems. To increase the potency of your skills, you can farm them from unique monsters and bosses, but again, that all revolves around your level. So if you are low level and struggling for DPS or anything like that, you can farm some of these bosses early in the game. But if you are just progressing normally, leveling up your character to higher levels will give you those higher level skill gems. So don't get too stuck on farming if you are in a good spot, but if you are struggling just a little bit in the lower levels, you can farm these so that way you can get some better skill gems. And one other tip that I wanted to put in here, guys, is make sure that you don't spend too much time spending your skill points into the attribute skills, because you'll get most of the attribute points with your character leveling up and the different armor and the jewelry that you'll obtain in the game. But if you are assigning passive skill level up points to attributes, make sure you assign them to the correct attribute pertaining to your class, especially in the early game. So for example, the sorceress and the witch will use intelligence, and the mercenary and the hunter will use dexterity, and of course like the warrior will use strength. So just keep that in mind so that way your correct attribute points are for your class. And another tip that I want to share with you guys is very early in the game you'll get some quests that you can do, and as you can see in the bottom left hand corner of my screen, you have this NPC called the Hooded One. You want to try and unlock him as soon as possible. It's about maybe 1 or 2 hours in the game. Once you get a feel for the combat, I think you might fight 1 or 2 bosses, but you want to try and get him unlocked as soon as possible. Now the reason why I say this is because he is a great NPC to have, because he will discover items for you for free, so that way you don't have to keep using the wisdom scrolls that are in your inventory while you're out in the land fighting monsters and getting items that have to be discovered. If you just portal back to town, you'll be able to have him identify your items for completely free, and he can reassign skill points for a little bit of gold if you don't like your skill selection in your skill tree. So he is a very important NPC to unlock in Path of Exile 2. And just another tip that I wanted to share with you guys. So remember earlier in the video I said that you can pretty much like farm bosses for like better skill gems and stuff like that, or elite enemies, but you can also farm bosses to try and get better gear later on in the game. So sometimes in Path of Exile 2 you'll get gear stuck, like you'll be stuck with a really good piece of gear, and then you'll progress further in the game and now you're stuck again because you'll need like either better boots or helmet or even a weapon. But you can absolutely keep farming bosses to try and get yourself a nice drop to further increase the potency and better your class, so that way you can progress further to defeat more difficult bosses later on in the game. Now, the big tip that I want to share with you guys is what pretty much separates Path of Exile 2 from other action RPGs is the Ascendancy feature. Now, once you get to Act 2, you'll come across a trial for your class, and this is pretty much what will enhance your class to a more focused version of what you want to do with your class. So, in early access right now, there are 2 Ascendancy classes right now per class for each of the 6 starting classes in Path of Exile 2. Now, these trials that you have to complete in order to unlock these Ascendancies are a little difficult, so I would suggest if you are having some trouble, go ahead, go level up some more, go get some better gear, and then go back and you can complete the trials. You can always come back and complete them if you ever get stuck. Now, another good thing is you can also get separate ascendancy points to upgrade your ascendancies, so it doesn't count towards your passive skill tree, so you do earn separate points to enhance your ascendancy class as well. And that pretty much wraps up our beginner's guide for Path of Exile 2. This video was dedicated for those that are pretty much brand new to the franchise, haven't played Path of Exile at all, so I hope you guys found this video helpful. Of course, you veterans out there, any tips that may have helped you, drop a like as well, but I know you guys will probably come across or pretty much figure out these mechanics as you play the game. But for all those new players out there, I hope you found this video helpful, and if it did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more Path of Exile 2 guides. I'll be going over all of the different classes and how they play and stuff like that, so if you want to see those, make sure to click that bell icon so that way YouTube will notify every time our videos go live, especially because we are a variety channel and we do play lots of other action RPG games or any other game for that matter. We'll be playing Path of Exile 2 for quite a bit until the next major game comes out, which is probably going to be either Assassin's Creed or Monster Hunter Wilds. We got quite a few months before those come out, but if you want some Path of Exile 2 guides and content, then we are here for you. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and again, I'll see y'all in the next one. Deuces.